33 Jahre ist er alt, er kommt gebürtig aus Stoke-on-Trent. Er lebt in Schottland, spielt jetzt sein zweites Viertelfinale überhaupt auf der European Tour. Hat ein tolles Turnier bislang hingelegt, hat auch schon Daryl Gurney, den World Grand Prix Champion, hier rausgeworfen. Und er trägt seinen Spitznamen, weil er 2012 bei der TV-Show X Factor selber mit dabei war. Herzlich willkommen dem X Factor Andy Boulton!
Everybody was moving.
Der Viertelfinalgegner von Andy Boulton ist zurück in den Top 15 der Welt. Er ist die aktuelle Nummer 13, WM-Finalist aus dem Jahre 2012. Er hat die European Darts Championship 2012 gewonnen und er stand zuletzt im Finale des World Grand Prix aus Down Under, the Wizard, Simon Whitlock!
12 months, Andy Boulton finds himself in the quarter-final of a European Tour event. He finds himself also 2 wins away from securing what was, at the start of the weekend, an extremely unlikely place in the European Championship in Hasselt. He is 3 wins away from booking his place in the World Championship. It's a very, very tall order, but the dream is still very much alive. And while dreams are alive, we can all dare to dream. Simon Whitlock, though, is the man standing in the immediate way of Andy Boulton here. And Simon Whitlock is a very, very different beast these days. He was a man who was on course for only his 2nd major PDC title when he led Daryl Gurney in the final of the World Grand Prix last week. And Whitlock maybe is a man who feels he has something to prove this weekend. Certainly.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg is Simon to throw first. Game on.
Certainly Simon Whitlock is a man who is very capable of going at least 1 stage further here, and beyond that, well, who knows. Number 4 seed here this weekend. He's already seen off Krzysztof Ratajski, ended his
59.
World Championship hopes. Jan Dekker was put to the sword earlier. 6-2 with an average of 99.57. Paul Nicholson, is this the end of the road for Andy Boulton?
I have to say that
84.
Simon is the favourite here. I looked at Simon's face when he was getting on stage. He's just buzzing right now, enjoying playing darts as ever, but he loves it when he's playing well.
140.
But right now, the X Factor, I wonder how he would sing the song Keeping the Dream Alive. Freiheit.
I knew that. The German group, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
apt, isn't it?
massive hit.
59.
But very much unlike Dimitri van den Berg, Simon Whitlock wants to be the dream crusher this weekend.
60.
He's already crushed the dreams of an absolutely distraught Krzysztof Ratajski. Dan Dawson was talking to me yesterday, and he said that Krzysztof was in the practice room and absolutely inconsolable.
Little wonder.
41.
Never mind. All he's got to do is look at that Win My World Masters trophy when he gets home and make himself feel better.
100.
I wonder who's going to be lifting the big titles before the end of the year. Who is going to be lifting the title tonight? If it's Andy Boulton, he's going to open more doors
134. Simon Uruguay
than you could possibly think of.
I was going to say, opening more doors than the concierge at the Dorchester Hotel.
That's a lot of doors. Double 11.
131.
Well, Whitlock down to 11. Boulton will just look to apply some pressure here.
134.
And of course,
Simon Uruguay 11.
Could have been a very different weekend entirely for Andy Boulton. But for that
Game shot in the first leg.
tussle against Kevin Painter in round 1, 6-5 coming through that.
Game on.
And of course, the irony is that if he were to book his place in Ali Pali, Painter would be the man to miss out. And I'm sure he'll be hopeful that it won't get that far. Daryl Gurney beaten yesterday in round 2, 103.25 average, and Vincent van der Voort, the other victim of Andy Boulton's this weekend.
Just imagine the tweetage from Painter if that happened.
Is that a word?
I've just made it up.
Great, I like it.
Tweetage.
Tweetage.
I think he'd probably have some sort of
100.
bristle Andy Boulton made as a dartboard for the next 12 months.
There'll have to be some sort of new emoji to cover that one, to cover the unlikely snatching of
140.
World Championship places by players who you should have beaten in round 1 of a European Tour event.
I think as far as Grump is concerned, I think Kevin Painter would go into Harrison Ford mode. Well, that aids the Boulton cause, and that announces him into this game for me. Simon takes the first leg on his throw. Andy just making a statement
99.
to himself.
Andy, you
to say,
require
right,
121.
let's start grinding. A little eyebrow raise as if to say that wasn't good enough.
Simon, you require 122.
Game-changing shot potentially for Simon Whitlock on a 1-2-2. Treble needed. Treble got. Bullseye.
97. Andy, you require 64.
Yeah, a look of frustration there for Whitlock. He knows it was a good chance, but Boulton here 64 away from levelling things up. 56 away now. Ooh, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Do not miss the big number.
25.
Paul will just talk about that in a moment. We'll just see what Whitlock can do here. Double eights for a 2-0 lead, and devastating punishment for Andy Boulton there.
The leg is Simon to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, he doesn't look too bad in his doubles so far, Whitlock, and when he's playing well, he is absolutely deadly on those doubles. But 64 he had. He's obviously gone for the treble eight to leave tops, which is fine, because if you hit the 8, you leave 56. You can't miss the 16. That's why I like the treble 16 for 64. Because if you hit the 16, then you can hit the 16 or the 8. It's just about being under a little bit of pressure
94.
And just giving yourself outs. Now, Painter the other night, a classic example. He had 25 left, and the veteran that he is, the smart man that he is, he went for 17.
140.
Why did he do that? Because in an edgy situation, you go for a 9, you've got one segment to hit. Either way, you've got an odd number left. You go for 17 and you slip into the 3, which 95. Is something that he did. He still has 2 shots at a double.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Kevin, he couldn't hit the double, but the thinking behind the single was absolutely right.
Yeah, there's plenty of logic there, yeah.
Now that eyebrow from Andy Boulton is very reminiscent of Dwayne Johnson, the Rock's eyebrow, or maybe the Joe Cullen eyebrow.
Something we may see something of in our next match. Cullen MVG.
99.
The winner of that one faces the winner of this one. Hybrex and Cross already sorted out in the top half of the draw.
100. Simon, you require 80.
Now Simon Whitlock is bossing this game. Tops, tops. He's already done this today, and he's just done it twice.
Simon Whitlock.
What used to be an exhibition or showmanship shot has become the norm. You see that a lot from Gary Anderson. You see it from Simon Whitlock. You see it from Richard North. They just go for tops, tops.
And this one so far going very much the way of their previous 2 encounters. They met earlier this year in the Players' Championship, in the very first Players' Championship event of the year. Whitlock won that one 6-3, and their other meeting that I dug up was a qualifier for a European Tour event, the Dutch Darts Masters in Venray at the start of last year, and Whitlock won that one 6-4. 3-0 to the good here.
Yeah, 6-4 is a good segue for what I wanted to ask you, Rob. Do you know how tall Simon Whitlock is?
Is he 5'9"?
He's definitely not 5'9". I know I am.
Is he 6'4"?
It'd be very apt, wouldn't it? 6'4" and full of muscle, just like his walk-on song.
I see what you're getting at now. I see what you're getting
97.
at. My sarcasm didn't really pay off there, did it?
I had the sarcasm soup for tea.
Is he full of muscle?
He's a lump.
130.
When you meet Simon Whitlock,
yeah,
up close, he's a unit.
That was a rhetorical question, by the way, Simon, if you're watching this back later on.
100. Simon, you require 164.
2 treble 19s. would have left the bull, and it will be 19s that Andy Boulton goes for in his visit.
126.
Well,
Andy requires 126.
Andy requires that, but in the other order. Needs the treble 19 now. Gets it now for Bull.
Good
Oh,
shot on the
yes!
foreleg. Andy Boulton.
I tell you what, a couple of 1-2-6s there.
Simon to throw first.
That is how you do it.
Well, it's something for Andy Boulton to work with.
93.
And there's something to cast your eyes over.
Unbelievable. Simon Whitlock is 6'4".
Dartsnuts.net. Thank you very much indeed for that one. Adrian Lewis is 6'3". Well.
Yeah, I think Vincent's
96.
6'6" or 7", I think. Vincent Camphouse is the tallest dart player I've ever seen. There are some very tall ones. Mick Todd, who's in this tournament, played the very first match. He's a guy who requires a ladder to say hello to.
$60.
I wonder if Simon Whitlock knows that about his walk-on song. He probably doesn't. And I'll inform him tomorrow. I think he might be on our flight, Rob.
60.
Right now, Simon Whitlock on that flight. And all he wants to do is take back a winner's cheque for £25,000.
60.
And a piece of glass that says European Darts Trophy Champion 2017. And right now, he is in the driving seat in this quarter-final.
55.
Yeah, I was speaking to Simon yesterday, and he had no idea
70
about the repercussions of him beating Ratajski. I said, do you know that Kevin Painter owes you a Diet Coke? And he said, no, why? And I told him, and I get the feeling he might actually send a message to Kevin and say, well, where's that Diet Coke?
I might send a message to Christoph Ratajski as well. But no room for sympathy or sentiment on stage. Anyway.
19s for Simon. 17 will leave double top. Nice and clear. Nice and hit. That's a great shot. We've seen some good finishing in this match. Something that Simon Whitlock is very much noted for, his pinging of doubles. And when he wasn't playing as well, about 18 months ago, everybody started to question, myself included actually, are these darts going to work long term? But he had faith in them, and
56.
The big finishes weren't there 18 months ago, but they seem to be coming back. And that's what's going to make him a real threat in the majors coming up. He's a genuine threat for titles.
140.
He thinks he's got a world championship in him. And who would bet against him this year?
Yeah. And again, we made the point yesterday how he set out his immediate goals on the back of that. Oh, that's what I liked about Whitlock. After he lost that World Grand Prix final against Gurney, obviously there was disappointment there, but what I liked about his reaction was the way he was clearly going to use that as a platform on which to build, and he just immediately set about a cluster of targets.
96.
The Grand Slam, he talked about that and what it meant to be involved in that again. He talked about getting back into the world's top 5. He also talked about being a Premier League player again. And I thought it was a really good reaction from Simon Whitlock. Rather than being downbeat, it was a chance to regroup and just reassess and trying to accentuate the positive and building on what he's achieved in Dublin. And he's certainly doing that this weekend as well.
And he requires 32.
For 4-2, Andy Boulton needs double 8. That is a fantastic guide. And he used it
Andy Boulton
to stay in the match.
Simon to throw first.
But Simon Whitlock, when he lost his Premier League spot, because he was there for a few years, that hurt him. Just like that 180 hurts Andy Boulton, because when he was omitted from the Premier League 10 or 8, as it used to be, he said to himself that he looked in the mirror and said, right, how do I get back there? And he's gone through a
59.
process of discovery and rediscovery. He now, for me, should be back in there if he has a good end of the year.
Yeah, and the other
57.
thing I like about Whitlock as well is that he leaves you in no doubt about what he's feeling. There's no ambiguity about what he says either. I mean, I remember speaking to him at the Players' Championship Finals a couple of years ago, and he cried on stage. He was so emotional, and I spoke to him afterwards about that with him, and he was more than happy to explain what was going on in his mind.
140.
And, you know, he just said, look, I still feel... He just dropped out of the world's top 16, by the way, at that point as well. He just thought, look, I've still got so much to prove, and I can deliver. I know I'm capable of getting back there.
140.
And this win today means so much. It seems not much on paper. It was an early round match at the Players' Championship Finals, but as far as he was concerned, it meant a great deal. And that means a great deal as well. 1-2-4 check out.
It's Andy to throw first.
Backing up the 1-1-4, and he's going all over the board here as well. That's the other good thing about Whitlock today. He is proving his versatility once again. And it doesn't matter what double he's ending up on. He is finding his range and he's finding his targets, and he's now one leg away from a semi-final berth on the European Tour.
Well, quite simply, he's just been too good for Andy Boulton
58.
this evening. He really has. Finishing's been good. Scoring's been good. Just too good. Another thing about Simon as well, he was asking me about laser eye surgery about a month ago when we were at the event in Mannheim. Funny enough, he asked me how much I paid for it, which, you know, I won't go into that. But Simon is talking about
140.
getting his eyes lasered in January.
Okay.
And I suppose I can understand that. But my response to him was, look, you're playing so well right now that I wouldn't change anything. It doesn't look too bad in a pair of bins as well.
59.
A bit of character. Not that he needs a bit of character. He's got
plenty of that in abundance elsewhere.
A 40-year-old ponytail and a beard as long as Gandalf's.
Well, the 164 was on there momentarily for Andy Boulton. Now, 5-2 looks a lot, especially when Whitlock only needs one leg, but it is just one break of throw. A hold here for 5-3, a break for 5-4, a hold for 5-all. It sounds a tall order. It's a lot to do, and he is running out of opportunities, but essentially it is just one break, and that's the psychological thing that Andy Boulton needs to work with here. He needs to look beyond that 5-2 deficit.
64.
He also needed to find double four there. And Whitlock looking at 1-4-4, and the way he's finishing at the moment, 1-1-4, 1-2-4, 1-4-4, who knows?
Maybe it was 1-3-4, he might have hit it.
90. And he requires 4.
He got one of those treble 18s that he needed. All the way down south to double 2 is where Andy Boulton needs to go. North now. That's a good shot. Keeps him in the match. Can't see Whitlock missing that 54 if he gets a shot. Notice the little wobble of the dart. Sometimes when Whitlock gets one in the corner of the treble there, that's more to do with the length of the points that he uses. They are very, very long.
100.
Should see some of the stuff he does when he's engineering at home. Those little scuffs to his points. And I had a
86.
conversation with Simon once at Championship League, which was a midweek tournament where he'd win £50 a leg. Great tournament. And I needed to sharpen my darts, and he said, I'm not going to do his accent.
100.
Great 180 from Andy Boulton. He said to me, you're surrounded by dart sharpener, there's loads of bricks outside. And he was right.
Just
58.
use what's at your disposal.
Absolutely. He's like the Bear Grylls of darts.
Well, Andy Boulton's tournament's average prior to this match was 92.4, and he's roughly there or thereabouts
57.
in this one as well. So, if anything, he's been consistent here, and he's left himself a finish of 164. Now, if Whitlock, well, he will make inroads here. 197 away, 177 away.
99.
And you could see
And he
that would
required
have left the Shanghai, but
164.
Boulton, maybe this is the opportunity for that break with Whitlock on 158. Maybe Boulton will take this out here and now. Once again, he misses the treble 18. But he stays
96.
there.
Simon, you require 158.
Well, this is a gilt-edged opportunity for Andy Boulton, unless Simon Whitlock can do what he is more than capable of, but he
140.
can't.
Oh, he loves leaving double 9.
68.
78 left and he's gone 60 for double 9. He loves that, but 68 is double 4 now.
Gage on the ninth leg.
And that
Andy
keeps it
Boulton.
alive, keeping the dream alive.
10th leg is Andy to throw first.
Yeah, Kevin Painter, if he is watching this, he'll be watching through his fingers over his eyes, I think, right now, because Andy Boulton has got himself back into contention here. He's found the break. He needs to back it up, of course. He's still got work to do, but that was a big step.
44.
And he could have done with a better start there as well than 44.
Well, if Andy Boulton wins this leg, I think Kevin Painter might be getting some sort of appointment at the doctor's tomorrow and telling him, can I have some medication for anxiety, please? Because I've been through the mill this weekend.
And of course, Johnny Clayton also will be hoping that Boulton can't get to the final of this tournament, because it's Johnny Clayton who sits in the final place in the European Order of Merit right now. The ferret is almost there, but not quite.
What we'll have to do as well after this match is find out when they're doing the draw for the European Championships.
Yes,
78.
because last year it was done on the same day. I remember you took part in the draw.
Yeah.
You conducted the ceremony with Sebastian from the PDC Europe team, and it was done backstage at the final European Tour event of the year.
59.
Yeah, I actually broke the news to Simon Whitlock that he was playing Michael van Gerwen first round, so... Funny enough, Simon had one dart to beat Michael that night on double 15. Couldn't do it, then Michael went on to win the title.
And Whitlock could yet face Michael van Gerwen this weekend as well. MVG and Joe Cullen waiting in the wings patiently. It could be a lengthy battle, this one.
60.
9 legs played, maybe a leg and a half to go.
Whitlock will go 19s here. Back up now. This is a massive leg of darts.
52.
And Andy Boulton has had one of his worst legs of the weekend, but he's still got the darts.
Yeah. Well, his average is now just hovering above 90. He won't care one jot about that. It's all about coming up with the darts at the right time here for Andy Boulton.
66.
And that's a slip-up. He's still not down to a finish. Just clutching his shoulder after that one as well. Maybe just feeling a bit tired in the arms after what has been an arduous weekend for him.
57.
Well, those people out there who don't think darts is a sport.
It's a punishing schedule on a final day here, and yeah, it's a test of mental character and physical attributes as well.
Isn't it just?
60.
Not the end of the world, Andy. You could come back and hit that 1-1-2, and you will be in 11th leg. What kind of pressure will he be under?
64.
Well, that's very smart from Simon Whitlock, leaving 130. That means that he only needs one treble to get a shot at a double. He might not get any, because it's double 16.
80. Simon, you require 130.
Well, Simon Whitlock, you feel this has to go. Otherwise, we are into a nerve-jangling decider. He's found the 60. There's the 20. There's the bullseye.
105.
But it's in the green bed.
And you require 32.
The one thing that goes through your mind if you're Simon Whitlock there is just go in. I want this over with. Double 16.
Ooh.
Double 12. Double 6. He's been all over the board.
Huge, huge moments in this match, and a huge, huge moment in the career of Andy Boulton as well. Simon Whitlock with his head bowed at the back of the stage, waiting for the call.
20.
And the call is 20, and it
Simon
means that Whitlock
25.
returns. 9 for double 8s. For a 6-4 win.
Game shot.
And that is the end of the road and the end of the dream for Andy Boulton. Johnny Clayton and Kevin Painter can breathe a big, big sigh of relief as Simon Whitlock looking to atone for the disappointments of last weekend in Dublin and that near miss against Darrell Gurney in the final of the World Grand Prix. Simon Whitlock once again finds himself in a European Tour semi-final. Made the semi-final in Mannheim just a few weeks ago, a semi-finalist in the German Masters at the start of the year, and he is through to the last four, and he'll find out very shortly who he'll face, either Cullen or MBG. They're on the way next. Let's grab a quick word with Simon Whitlock as he acknowledges the performance of Andy Boulton.
You were up 5-2, and I thought, okay, he's going to go his way.
I don't know what happened. I felt great, but the darts wouldn't go in. But yeah, thank God I hit the last double. But yeah, a bit of a strange game.
In general, when you see the statistics, it's again over 60-70%. I mean, when we look back 2010, 11, 12, that was the time you were always playing these checkout percentages. That was your big strength. Is this strength back?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, my doubles percentage back, my 180s are back, everything's back. I'm a better player now.
Michael van Gerwen or Joe Cullen?
Don't know. I'm not really bothered, you know, just one game at a time. I just play whoever's up here.
The third semi-final this year on European Tour. The next step, I think you're waiting for the next step, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm on a good roll at the moment, and I've been working hard, so everything's coming good.
See you later. Thank you, Simon. Simon Whitlock. Sagt, ist gut drauf gerade. Läuft gut, egal ob Van Gerwen oder Joe Cullen. Will endlich nochmal in das Finale eines European Tour Events.